Alright, what we're going to do is install a decoder in this Bachmann 260 Colorado and Southern locomotive. We're just going to install a simple decoder. It's not going to have sound, but you'll get an idea of what you need to do to install it. We'll take these things off here. Sanctions. Okay. Now, let me turn this up where I can show you here. There's a screw right here, pilot screw. I'm going to pull that off. I think there's a spring under it. Maybe not. No. Alright. After we get that off, we're going to take this screw here off, right underneath the pilot sanction. The pilot trucks. Been a long day. Okay. Alright. And then there's a screw up here closer to the pilot. Alright. Now, I think this will come off. Looks like it's snapped in right there. Be careful of it. Okay, looks like it's catching right here. It looks like it's snapped there. There we go. There's a slot right there. There's a little tab catching there. We're going to pop that out. That's what's holding the body on. So we're going to go up under here. We're going to go up under right here. See if we can pry that. Make sure you can see this. We'll go right there and see, prying it out a little bit. Seems like something's still catching here. Alright, let me take a look here. Well, after some fussing with it here, I've been able to pull this out at the top, which I think was catching it before. So we'll go back to this spot here. There we go. So we undid this clip, and we also pulled it out at the front up here. There you go. And here. Pull that off the side. So you'll see a printed circuit board here. We're going to remove this screw. Right here, it's a very small screw. And we're going to disconnect this wiring harness right here. That's the next step. Little printed circuit board. As usual, it's kind of hard to get that plug out. Such small plugs. Okay, this motor harness is supposed to just slip off. motor cradle. There we go, got that one. Right there. Okay, there's two little things there. Stick your screwdriver in there. See if you can see it here. Right there. There's a little teeny slot. Just twist your screwdriver in there just a little bit. And you can feel it snap off. Okay. No, easier said than done there. Snap back on. Alright, just like that. Easy to tell where it goes back on. These big tabs go on what we'll call the front of the motor. Well, that's actually the back of the motor. Front of the locomotive, how's that? Okay. Here, these are the contacts for the headlight. I'll take these out. And then I think I'm gonna have enough room to put my decoder in this spot right here. I think I can put it right there. I have to shave off these two pegs here a little bit. I got a little bit of room under here, so we'll get it down as low as we can, and that should give us enough room to get the decoder in. There's two little screws holding those in, so we'll take those off next. There it goes, lost the screw. I'm not going to reuse it anyways. So there we go, got them out. And remove the tabs that are sticking out. You probably can't see in there, there's a tab right there. There's two of them, and then two smaller ones. I'll remove those. Give me a little bit more room for my decoder in there. And I think my decoder will fit in there. It'll be sticking out past the front a little bit like that, but there is space up in the smoke box. There's quite a bit of room up in front, so I think we're going to have plenty of room for the decoder. All right, now I took some rail nippers, or some kind of nippers. They're not really rail nippers. Took some some nippers. So I used to cut rail. And I cut out the tabs that were sticking up in the bottom of the underneath of the side of the boiler down there. There were 2 or 3 tabs sticking up. Cut those off because the decoder is going to set. Let me come over here. Decoder is going to set up here, up in here like this. I might even put it like this actually. I've got the room very close. I've put tape around this just to kind of protect the circuit, but it's open on the end so heat can dissipate out of it. I cut these posts off. They were sticking up a little bit higher. I used nippers. And I just nipped them off. Takes a little bit of pressure, but they'll snap off. Okay, so that's where we're at. Now I'm going to solder the leads to the motor. It's the next step. All right, we soldered the connections. Soldered a wire on this side of the motor. and soldered one on top of the motor down here, up here on top. Cut the wire. There was a little metal band here. I cut it off, soldered the connection there. Gray wire, orange wire over here on the side. And then I snapped the retaining clip back on. Set the decoder on. See, I've got a little bit of clearance under here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's clearance there. And then the main chip is setting right on those posts that I had trimmed off. So hopefully that's going to give me the room. Now I just test drove this and it does run. I hooked up the black and red wire to the original black and red wires that were connected into this printed circuit board. There was a connector on there. I cut it off, soldered the wires. Didn't have any heat shrink, so I just used tape, packing tape. It'll keep it from touching. I also used packing tape to attach the decoder to the frame. The only thing that's got me worried at this point is this connection right here. Looks like it's sticking out a little bit too far from. I'll push it in. I don't know if there's enough room there or not to clear when I go to put the body back on. Time will tell on that. So that's where we're at right now. I use a little bit of flux, liquid flux on my connections. Makes soldering a lot easier. Otherwise it's next to impossible. I use a really fine size of solder. This is 22 gauge with 2.2% flux in it, silver solder. Okay, so that's where we're at on that. I'm going to find me an LED to put in there, see if we can set up an LED light. Is we are going to remove this headlight and we're going to put an LED in there. So that's the next project. Okay, now the way I understand it, this light's supposed to come apart, and I can't, my eyesight's so bad I'm not exactly sure where, so hold steady here. I know we can pull it apart down here. Supposed to be a press fit in there. Okay, I put the screwdriver right in the front and did a little twist, and it's starting to come out. There we go. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. I have cut the wires. I'm going to cut them some more here. There we go. All right. Should be able to pull that through. All right. So we got the headlight off. Now, I do believe it comes apart here in the front. The lens should come out. Okay, hold on. Okay, what I did is I took the screwdriver and I popped off this little number board here. Okay, it's just stuck in there. I don't know if it was glued or not, but took that off, which gives me a better idea what I got to do with this light. This light is in two parts. supposed to pry apart, but so far it's not budging. So I'll work on that, and then when I figure out how to do it, I'll let you know. All right, figured out what to do here. Took a razor knife, and there's a seam right in the very back. I stuck it on the corner, and I put a little pressure and twisted, and it pulled apart like that. Okay, now don't lose the lens right there. There's the lens right there. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to take this bulb out. But I think they went a little crazy with the glue. Here we go. Got the bulb out. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to put my LED in there. That's coming next. All right. So I got the LED, bent the leads at a 90-degree angle to the LED. As you'll notice also, I snipped the end of the LED off with some nippers so it's flat. And it will set in here. It'll set in here. I'm going to have it. I'm going to even nip it off some more so that it's setting back farther. I don't know if I'll be able to get the lens back in there, but we'll see. The other thing is, I have this piece of hose. This was a shield for a wiring harness, had a little bit of shield in it. And I've cut it so it'll slip over that. All right, I cut the hose at an angle. That way it would feed through the hole a little easier. So there it is. Now the next thing I want to do is fix this LED so that it's got a flat edge there. I'm going to take a file to it, file it down some. I've been filing this. Take the LED, set it down on the file. As you can see, it's filing it down quite a bit. After I had snipped it off with the nippers. When I did the nippers, that little end went flying, so make sure you wear eye protection. Try and get this fairly flat. If you got a high spot, about more on one edge than the other. I filed the LED down quite a bit. There's still more I could go, but I don't need to at this point. I think we're good. It's sticking out a little bit, but when I put the top of the light back on, the lens is still on there. Put it on, push it backwards on it, snap it into place. I've bent the leads back at a 90-degree angle to the headlight, and then they're going to slide through this channel, and then I've got to get them through a little hole down there. So it's going to be, they're going to slide through this channel and then through a hole back there. So it'll go up in like that. So I've taken a screwdriver and snapped off. Let me grab my screwdriver here. Let me take the last one. Use a fairly big screwdriver. I'm snapping off this plate that the headlight sets on. Okay, there it is. Now, if I really felt ambitious, I'd drill these out and put an LED in there. It'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Project for another day. All right. So this goes on like this, so we can fish our wires through the hole going from the top. Probably goes without saying. There we go. Okay, we've got the light in, got the leads coming out. And I've got a 1K resistor here that we're putting on the LED. And I do have some heat shrink. It goes from 1/8 to 1/16. I'm going to put that over the resistor. And got the light installed. Got the lens in there. And put a little heat shrink over that resistor. And we're ready to put the locomotive back together. So, spin it around here. I'm going to try and get these wires up into the firebox some. Like that. Okay. These wires in out of the way. Now the fun stuff. Putting it all back together with all these things sticking out on it. Gotta watch out for these little, I don't know if those are brake lines or sand lines. Make sure you get them out there. Okay. Alright guys, here's my locomotive decoder install. Pretty hard installation. As you can see, my light is not snapping back into place here. I need to get, I've got LED leads coming down and I put a little plastic hose over them and it's too big. I need to get some heat shrink to put on the LED leads and then it'll make it so it doesn't have so much stuff there holding it up. I had this snapped on, but when I pried this off, one of the legs broke. So now when I snap it on, it doesn't stay tight, and it's because there's so much pressure from the wires pushing on it. And also, I had a lens in here, and I dropped this light and dropped the lens, and I haven't found the lens yet. I've got a cement floor here, so I need to search around for the lens. But anyways, and another thing is the LED is staying on all the time. And I've checked the wiring 3 or 4 times. I think it's this decoder. The D102 from NCE is the decoder I put in. Now I'm going to be using rail driver to drive this locomotive. So put it in forward. Put it in reverse. It's in reverse. Okay. Seems to have a little hesitation. No sound. So what do you do in that case? Well, I use JMRI, Java Model Railroad Interface, and the newer versions of JMRI come with virtual sound decoder. I'm going to turn that on. And this is kind of in beta testing right now. It's been released, but it's got a little bit of work to go on it. So here we turn sound on. Sound coming out of my computer speakers. the sound and the decoder to correspond. It's going to take some time. Alright, now, you guys are probably thinking that sounds really bad. However, like I said, this is sort of a beta testing project for a virtual sound decoder. And any and all of you are welcome to make your own sound files. It's just a matter of taking the sound file and cutting it into separate parts for the throttle speed, and the documentation is on the GMRI website if you look under virtual sound decoder, and I'm sure that the programmer would appreciate any help he can get on creating sounds. So if you've got the time and the know-how, take a look at the programming. It's just XML, and you, like I say, you would have to have different segments of the sound. I think he's only got 3 segments, so the more segments you add, the better the sound's going to be. So if you can help out with that, I'm sure you appreciate it. And next time I'll make sure to have some heat shrink tubing. That concludes my installation of my sound, or my DCC decoder, and I'm going to do another one. I've got a bumblebee, and I'll do that, and when I do that I'll make another video.